And the goal with all of this is to get to a place where we can do a single leg bridge with about 1/3 of our body weight on our hips and completely control it with a pause at the top, a slow eccentric, and then an explode up. All right, in this video, I'm gonna show you a bunch of glute activation exercises to help your glutes work so you're not placing a ton of pressure on the poor lower back and having those poor hamstrings pull in as well. So the goal here with all these moves is to always have your glutes work, because your glutes are supposed to be your main hip movers when you bend over to pick something up, when you do a bridge exercise like you just saw me do, when you're doing basically anything where you're firing the hips from here to here. So in bending over and bridging and running and jumping, doing pretty much anything that involves the lower body is we want our glutes to be working and firing and very active and not have that excess pressure placed on the lower back. If your glutes don't fire, your erectors and your hamstrings are gonna have to pull in, and it's not a good situation. It's gonna be painful, it's gonna be stressful on your back, and basically, I don't think I need to preach this enough, but you want your glutes to work, and here's a couple exercises for you to do to help get them there. And every situation with this is unique. I've worked with a lot of guys on this. Some people have their hamstrings pull in too much. Some people have their erectors pull in too much. Some people just don't know what it feels like to have their glutes work. So I'm gonna show you quite a few different ones. I don't know what's gonna work best for you. Try them all. You'll probably find one that works better than the others, and run with that until we can feel what it's like for those glutes to work. And so you can push button, like tell them to turn on with your mind muscle connection when you're bending over to do anything or really doing anything at all. All right, here's one of the easiest starter moves for glute activation. I'm just gonna do a simple clamshell, which is this, without a band at all. And what we're gonna do here is we're gonna put our fingers right on the upper back meat here, and we wanna feel that activate when we open our legs. So as you contract this up, you should feel this top of the glute working. You can also add a band by wrapping it between your legs to really feel that isolate and contract. And to progress that, you can come up to a knee situation and continue to do that with or without a band. Next up is a standing bent over glute kickback. So what this is gonna do is we're going to straight bend one glute back at a time. And this is very low stress. What we wanna focus on here is that glute max, that meaty butt muscle here, to fire and just bring our legs straight back without engagement from any other muscles. And once you can do this very well, you can progress to doing it without the chair and actually putting your focus on the one leg like this, and still feeling that contraction right here in the glutes. And once you can do that, I mean, bending over to pick something off the ground, you can kind of push button, tell your glutes to work, and you'll feel a lot better. Next up here, I have a banded glute pull through, and this is going to be putting a band and a lot of tension right behind here, hinging forward at the hips, and then using the glutes to contract yourself back up. And when you do this with a band, it's going to feel different than without. It's going to force more tension on your glutes because your glutes have to push the band through. Without that, you can kind of rely on your erectors to just pull you up. But the banded glute pull through is gonna be awesome for this. All right, the next step in this is to make sure your glute bridge is working well and not pulling in the hamstrings and the erectors. And a good test of this at first is gonna be the double leg bridge without weight, just contracting your glutes up. You should feel all the tension. I mean all the tension in your glutes. You shouldn't feel nearly anything in your hamstrings or erectors. Kind of like you're pinching a playing card between your cheeks to make sure they're contracting up and down like this. From there, you can add weight or progress right into the single leg bridge without weight, and then finally the single leg bridge with weight. And the goal with all of this is to get to a place where we can do a single leg bridge with about 1/3 of our body weight on our hips and completely control it with a pause at the top, a slow eccentric, and then an explode up. And once you can do the single leg bridge with weight very comfortably, knowing that you're activating the glutes and not any of the other muscles, then moves like deadlifts, squats, power cleans, like bigger, more high impact movements are gonna be a lot more safe because your glutes know how to work, so they're gonna be the main movers doing those movements, and your erectors and your hamstrings and those other poor lower back muscles aren't pulling in to take up their slack. So I hope you guys got some value out of this. These are the best glute activation exercises I have found, starting from square one to getting you to the double leg bridge, the single leg bridge, and then progressing into more advanced movements. Comment below if you've tried any of these out. I'm kind of curious what you guys think. Make sure to like the video and subscribe to help me out so I can get this message out to more people. And check out my products if you want to get out of your back pain faster below. I appreciate you guys, and we'll see you in the next one.